Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, I said I was going to use another one of my favorite products, and that is a smooth edge can opener. I call it the anti-botulism can opener because that black stuff that builds up on can openers is decayed food. Ooh, that happens to other people, not you, I know. Anyhow, so I always tell people, think of it as a ladybug. You're going to want to land it on the can, and it's going to grab hold as soon as you start spinning it. And she's tired, so she's resting. She's not hanging off the side like a normal can opener. And as soon as it gets easy, you know it's done. Sometimes you have cans that have a little thicker outside edge. You might have to go around them 2 or 3 times. Or maybe you've used your can openers so much that after 3 or 4 years, it's just dull. So then you flip the handle, the top, I call it her antenna, the other way, and that comes right off. And our ladybug, of course, has a little mouth right here on the side, and that's what's going to open and take off that little lid. And so I'm using a can of gravy just because I don't have Thanksgiving leftovers right now in my house. But you could certainly use a brown gravy packet or a turkey gravy packet and just make a little gravy. Or I've had people add cream cheese to the bottom of it underneath the cheese with the cranberry, and it's absolutely delicious. So you can just modify that to whatever you like. So I'm going to move my knives out of the way here after I showed you which ones are my favorites. And we are going to start laying out our wreath arrangement with the crescent rolls. Now this is a little bit different than a ring where all of the spokes start out like a compass pointing north, south, east, and west, and then you fill in to make a giant sunburst, and you put a little 4-inch hole in the middle of it, and then all of your points fold in that way. You could certainly do that with this recipe, but I want it to be a little fancier. So we are going to do some of the points going in and some of the points going out. I can just leave the pizza cutter in the middle or the collar that tells me to make a little 4-inch hole. And so that's going to get me started right there. And I am just going to open up our crescent rolls and pull them apart into points. And I always like to have my hostesses lay out the ingredients for me, except for the crescent rolls. I especially want them to have the cream cheese on the counter for me, but if they could keep the crescent rolls in the refrigerator till the very last moment possible, because they work so much better if they're nice and cold. So we're starting like our little compass, only we are going to take the second can and we're going to have some of the points going in to make our braid. Now that I know about my little hole right here, I'm going to take that out of the way, and now I'm going to open the second can of crescent rolls, and I am going to, I always tell people, if you can open a can of crescent rolls or biscuits, you can make your shop. Okay, so this next time, I've divided it in half this way, and I'm going to start laying some of the points facing to the inside like that. You can kind of see, and it's going to kind of overlap just a little bit in the middle, but we're not going to squish them down. So this time I am just putting my points in, and I want to make sure that I have about 4 of the, or 5 of the points coming in. Okay, now I have 2 leftover ones. I'm going to look for the biggest space on the outside, and I am going to just kind of put those over there. Okay, so now the magic starts happening. You start flattening out the crescent rolls to the edges, and not smushing in the middle, and kind of gently pulling out the points just a little bit like this. Okay, we are getting there. And obviously that little rolling pin and the flour sugar shaker would make this so much easier. I can remember when that rolling pin just got added to the line and we stopped having to do this all by hand, and man, our rings and wreaths and braids started turning out so much prettier. So I'm just taking this and smushing this out. This little edge right here goes up the side of your pie pans or helps you really work things out, and then you have this big flat surface right here. So we've kind of got this worked out right here, and now we are going to put on the layer of the cheese, and that's going to give us a moisture barrier, and of course it's just going to be yummy. Now this is not one of my, diet, paleo, healthy kind of recipes, but this is a great thing for boys who need calories, getting rid of the leftovers, a treat every once in a while. It is Thanksgiving. So we've just kind of got that layer of cheese right here. If it was orange cheddar, you could see a little bit different, but you can kind of see here, we've got that layer of cheese. So now what we're going to do is we are going to start making like a little round ball with our small scoop right here, and just start kind of placing those around the stone right here. Looks like I'm going to have enough to make another one of these. Okay. And I just love the rings, wreath, and braids because they're so versatile. One of my favorites is what I call an Eggs Benedict brunch ring, and it has eggs and hollandaise and Canadian bacon, and it's just absolutely so elegant for a brunch. So got that in there. I think I've got the right amount. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a scoop of the cranberry jelly. That's one of those things that we put on our table. Some people like it, love it, and a lot of times you have 1/2 to 3/4 of a can left over. So this is a great way to use it up, and it looks like I have enough to do 2 of these. So that's going to be great, and I just kind of put that in between our mounds. And I'll tip this over in just a minute so you can see what that looks like. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I am just going to add a little bit of gravy on the can. And it'll take about 1/2 a can because, again, we have enough to do 2 of these, to the top of our meat and stuffing mixture. And that's going to keep it nice and moist. Okay, and then we're going to start the regular part of this, and I'm just going to sprinkle a little more cheese on the top so it's all bubbly and it is just awesome. So we're just going to put that much on the top just to give it a little bit of browning. And then we're going to start flipping the inside point over and tucking it under. Oh, here, I wanted to show you this. Tip that over. And then we're going to do all of the inside points. So they just kind of have to go flipping over backwards than the way you laid them down, so that the bottom ones obviously get done last and you start working on the top ones. And you just tuck it underneath, and now we've got our inside. Now what we're going to do with the outside is we're going to kind of do a crisscross over the ones from the inside. And it's just going to make this beautiful little pattern, and it's going to turn out lovely. You think, oh, I can't do that, I'm not artistic, or I have to be perfect or whatever. And in this recipe, you really don't. And it is going to turn out great. You just kind of tuck any of the filling that's popped out back in. And I'm going to tip this over and stick it in the oven. And then when it comes out, we're just going to show you another picture. So we're going to go ahead and cook it, and I would have time to make another one. Now I have made one smaller ring that's just like a regular ring and another one on the outside to do a double ring, and that would have used all of our ingredients, and that would take 4 cans of crescent rolls to do that. And it'd have an outside ring and an inside ring, and that turns out really pretty too. And that feeds the crowd. So now we're just gonna bake. Our turkey cranberry wreath that we made, and it just came out of the oven, and it is bubbly and delicious, and can't wait to give it a try. And this is what the finished product looks like right here.